Welcome to the Ranger Rodeo, a challenging off-road competition to see which utility vehicle is the hardest working and the smoothest riding. Off-road utility vehicles are exploding in popularity. They're used by ranchers, farmers, hunters, contractors, and municipalities. But as you'll see, today's utility vehicles vary widely in power, performance, and comfort. At the Ranger Rodeo, we're going to test 6 four-wheel drive utility vehicles on a tough obstacle course that simulates real off-road situations. We're going to compare them on rough terrain, in speed runs, through a slalom course, even in the mud, so you can see for yourself which is the hardest working and the smoothest riding. Now, to ensure fairness, the course, the vehicle setup, and the test have been monitored and validated by an independent third party. Today's contestants: the John Deere Gator HPX 4x4, the Kawasaki Mule 3010, the Kubota RTV 900, the Yamaha Rhino, the Arctic Cat Prowler, and the Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI. Welcome to the Ranger Rodeo. Welcome to the Ranger Rodeo, a rugged off-road competition between utility vehicles. Today's rodeo matchup features the Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI going head-to-head with the Kubota RTV 900. To ensure fairness, the course, vehicle setup, and tests have been monitored and validated by an independent third party. Let's get started. Our first test compares top speed. The Kubota gradually gets to its top speed of 23 miles per hour. The Ranger, with 50% more horsepower, is quicker out of the hole and has a top speed of 40 miles per hour, a clear advantage for anyone who rides off-road. Whether you use your utility vehicle for farming, ranching, hunting, or working, getting over rough terrain is an absolute must. Our second test is a comparison of four-wheel drive traction. When the Kubota is stopped by a boulder or log, its limited slip front differential leaves you stuck in three-wheel drive. It's going nowhere. That means when you encounter extreme terrain on a Kubota, you could be stopped in your tracks. The same goes for mud. Without true four-wheel drive and weighing over 1 ton loaded, the Kubota goes in, sinks, and stops. Better have a tow strap handy. The Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI uses on-demand true four-wheel drive for superior traction. The Ranger's unique four-wheel drive system senses when the rear wheels slip, then automatically locks in and delivers full torque to both front wheels. You get superior traction and plenty of power to pull you up and over boulders, logs, and other obstacles, as well as get you through deep mud and all kinds of nasty terrain. In rough terrain, Ranger beats the Kubota hands down. Here's another clear win for Ranger in the hard-working category: cold weather starting. The Ranger uses gasoline and features electronic fuel injection. The Kubota uses diesel fuel. When compared by an independent third party, the Kubota failed to start at 20 below 0 Fahrenheit. The Ranger 4x4 EFI not only started, it ran perfectly. EFI gives the Ranger faster starts and automatically adjusts to changes in temperature and altitude. If you've got work to do in cold weather, Ranger gets it done. Our next test highlights hauling. Let's say you've got to haul 1,000 pounds of feed around the farm or move an entire deer camp into the back country. The Kubota and Ranger 4x4 are similar in how much cargo they can carry, but in how they carry the cargo, the Ranger 4x4 is far superior. In the Kubota, all you can do is tie everything down and hope for the best. The Ranger has the exclusive Lock and Ride cargo system. Using expansion anchors and mounting holes in the top of the box, it takes just seconds to attach a gun scabbard, gas can holder, water cooler holder, or other accessories. By keeping all your important equipment safe and secure on top and outside of the cargo box, Lock and Ride maximizes your capacity to carry big, bulky cargo inside the box. The Lock and Ride cargo system also has D-rings inside the box and tie-down points outside to easily secure and carry cargo. The Kubota does not. Add it all up, and the battle for hauling bragging rights is no contest. Ranger beats Kubota. The Ranger also wins at towing. The Kubota has a towing capacity of just over 1,300 pounds. The Ranger, 1,500 pounds. Now that's hard working. And it's a lot easier to hook up all that weight to a Ranger. It's got a standard 2-inch receiver hitch just like your pickup. The Kubota's hitch, just 1 1/4 inch. The Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI beats the Kubota RTV 900 4x4 in top speed, 4-wheel drive, cold weather starts, hauling, and towing. No doubt about it, the Polaris Ranger wins the hardest working title. Now, let's see how Ranger and Kubota stack up in the battle for the smoothest ride. In this test, we'll compare suspension systems on rough terrain to see which vehicle delivers the smoothest ride. In the bump test, the Kubota has minimal rear suspension travel and maximum trouble over the bumps. Carrying a load, it's a very rough ride. Now, let's unload the box and try that again. With an empty box, the ride on the Kubota gets even worse. The Ranger has independent rear suspension with 9 inches of rear suspension travel for a smooth, comfortable ride over rough terrain. And watch this, even at 20 miles per hour, the long travel front and rear suspension systems absorb the bumps like they aren't even there. Ranger's independent rear suspension also delivers superior ground clearance. With an 800-pound load, the Kubota has just 6.5 inches of ground clearance, not enough to clear a light bulb. The Ranger, loaded with 800 pounds, has 8.7 inches of ground clearance, 30% more than Kubota. And get this, the loaded Ranger has over 1 inch more ground clearance than an empty Kubota. That means a lot less worry when you're working, hunting, or riding off-road. The Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI with independent rear suspension clearly beats the Kubota RTV 900 in gliding over rough terrain and clearing tall obstacles. No doubt about it, the Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI is the smoothest riding vehicle. And check out these exclusive features. Only the Polaris Ranger gives you EFI for easy starts and automatic altitude and temperature adjustment, seating for 3 with 3 seat belts, and the full family of revolutionary lock and ride accessories. In test after rugged test, the Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI beats the Kubota RTV 900. If you want the hardest working, smoothest riding utility vehicle, the results couldn't be clearer. Welcome to the Ranger Rodeo, a rugged off-road competition between utility vehicles. Today's rodeo matchup features the Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI going head-to-head with the Kawasaki Mule 3010 4x4. To ensure fairness, the course, vehicle setup, and tests have been monitored and validated by an independent third party. Let's get started. Our first test compares top speed. The Mule slowly kicks its way to a top speed of just 24 miles per hour. The Ranger, with over 50% more horsepower, has a top speed of 40 miles per hour, a clear advantage for anyone who has a lot of ground to cover. Whether you use your utility vehicle for farming, ranching, hunting, or working, you need the traction to get you over the rough stuff. When the Mule is stopped by a boulder or log, its limited slip front differential leaves you stuck in 3-wheel drive. It's not going anywhere, and without true 4-wheel drive, no amount of coaxing is going to get a mule through deep mud. The Polaris Ranger 4x4 EFI uses on-demand true 4-wheel drive for superior traction. The Ranger's unique 4-wheel drive system senses when the rear wheels slip, then automatically locks in and delivers full torque to both front wheels. You get superior traction and plenty of power to pull you up and over boulders, logs, and other obstacles, as well as get you through deep mud and all kinds of nasty terrain. In 4-wheel drive traction, Ranger beats the Mule hands down. Our next test highlights hauling. Let's say you've got to haul 1,000 pounds of feed around the farm or move an entire deer camp into the back country. The Mule has a box capacity of 800 pounds. That means you'll be making 2 trips to get the job done. The Ranger is clearly superior. Its cargo box hauls up to 1,000 pounds. In a single trip, you can haul a